theyeshiva.net.
I want to emphasize again that if somebody doesn't understand something, you could feel comfortable to ask any question, and you never have to be afraid that it's going to be a foolish question or it's going to be perceived as ignorance. In this shiur, there's no such a thing as a foolish question. If somebody has a question, it's perfectly fine. So everybody should feel free to ask any question you want and not be shy or ashamed. I know some of you in yeshiva ask questions, and then at some point you stopped asking questions for various reasons. So here you could go back to first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, whatever it is, and ask all of your questions without busha. It turns out that the questions that you asked as a child were probably very good questions, and the teacher didn't know how to answer them, so therefore he made fun of them. But usually the questions that first graders, second graders ask are the best questions. Nobody has answers for them. They're so good, right? Pesachim Daf Hey Amud Aleph. We're mamash at the last line of the page. Daf Hey Amud Aleph, the last line, the last words, concluding this particular sugya. Now this sugya that began on Daf Daled Amud Beis and continues through Daf Hey Amud Aleph and the top of Daf Hey Amud Beis deals with one of the most essential questions in Maseches Pesachim, and that is how we ever came to the conclusion that chametz is forbidden on Erev Pesach midday. Let's remember and summarize Bekitzer Nimrutz. We learned in the morning that everything has to be Bekitzer Nimrutz, in great brevity and concisement, in a very concise fashion. What was the mahalach of the sugya, and what were the various shittas, the various opinions in the issue? I just want to emphasize one point. The first one who introduces an answer is Abaye. Now obviously Abaye is not the one who came up with the idea that you have to get rid of your chametz Erev Pesach before midday. The Mishnah says you have to burn the chametz in the beginning of the 6th hour. And we appreciate from this that the Tanoim already understood that midday you're not allowed to have chametz. Abaye just wants to figure out where you see it in the text, how the Chazal saw it in the text. But obviously, when the Rambam introduces this halacha, that it's a mitzvah essay to get rid of chametz Erev Pesach before Chatzos, the Rambam says, Mipi HaShmuah. They learned it Mipi HaShmuah. Mipi HaShmuah literally means from the oral tradition, throughout the generations, it was given down because already the first year Pesach, when they observed Pesach, Kedeboy, when they observed Pesach, they had to do Tashbisu. So this was something they had to do every year. What the Chazal are trying to figure out is where you see it in the text, or to put it in the terminology that we used in one of the Shiurim, in the beginning of the Sugya, to try to see in the text Moshe Rabbeinu's Shiur, to try to see in the text the source of this halacha. So Abaye is the one who said that it comes from the fact that there are two psukim. Now, concentrate because it's important to have the summation of the whole sugya. Abaye says there are two psukim. One pasuk in Parshas Boy, Perik Yud Beis, pasuk Yud Tes, Shivas Yamim Sa'or Lo Yamatze B'Batechem. For 7 days there should not be Sa'or in your homes. There's another pasuk, just 4 psukim before that, pasuk Tesvav, Perik Yud Beis, pasuk Tesvav. Shivas Yamim Matzos Techelu. You should eat matzahs for 7 days. Ach b'yom harishon, Tashbisu soimer b'teich. But on the first day, you should eliminate yeast from your homes. According to Rashi's understanding, Abaye here is posing a contradiction. If you don't have chametz for 7 days, how can you eliminate chametz on the first day? If you're eliminating chametz on the first day, it means that at least in the beginning of the first day you have chametz. And therefore Abaye says, the Chazal understood, Ach b'yom harishon doesn't mean the first day of Pesach. First day of Pesach you're not allowed to have chametz, it means the day before Pesach. So the Gemarah wanted to struggle and say, no, Ach b'yom harishon means the night of Pesach. You're not allowed to have chametz 7 days of Pesach, but the night of Pesach, you're allowed to have chametz, and you have to eliminate the chametz on the night of Pesach. The Gemarah refutes that because we already know from various psukim that you're not allowed to have chametz at the moment when you're not allowed to eat chametz, which is already on the night of Pesach when you're eating matzah at the Seder. So you have to say B'yom harishon means what? It means a day before Pesach, But Yom Rishon doesn't mean on the first day of Yom Tov, it means a day before Yom Tov. So the Gemara says, okay, let it be the night of Yudalid. By Yom Rishon, if Yom Rishon means Yudalid Nisan, let it be the night of Yudalid. We should eliminate chametz the night when we do Dikas chametz. No, says the Gemara, it says by Yom Rishon, by day, the first day, not the first night. Okay, so let's do it in the morning. Eliminate chametz in the morning, the first thing when sun rises. Erev Pesach in the morning, every Jew should do Tashbisu, like we do Berchas Achama. Zog the Gemara, no, because Ach B'Yom Rishon. It doesn't say B'Yom Rishon, it says Ach B'Yom Rishon, which always represents the fact that it's a limited application. It's not the entire first day. Ach, but on the first day, the but is diminishing. It's limiting the application of the first day, meaning it's only a partial prohibition. Part of the day is Tashbisu. Ach Chilek, will do the first interpretation of Rashi. Part of the day, you're allowed to have chametz. Part of the day, you have to eliminate your chametz. So how do we do it? We split it into two, and we say the first 6 hours you can have chametz, and the second 6 hours you can't have chametz. After 6 hours, you have the chiyuv of Tashbisu, because it says Ach. This concludes Abaya's proof. From this, the Gemara brought the shita of Rabbi Yishmael, who says that we find that Rishon could mean Erev Pesach Yudalid, because another pasuk that says Barishon, Barba Asar, Yoim Lachodesh, Ba'erev Toich Matzos, the 14th is called Rishon. Comes Reb Nachman and says, not only you find that Rishon could be the 14th day, but Reb Nachman Bar Yitzchak says, Rishon means the day prior to Yom Tov. Harishon Adam Tivoled, the pasuk says in Eiv, were you born prior to Adam? Were you born before Adam? Were you born first before Adam? Shivas Yama Matzos Techelu, eat matzos for 7 days. Ach, but by Yom Rishon, on the day prior to the 7 days, this, the Gemara really created a ruckus from all the psukim where it's clear that Rishon doesn't mean the day before Yom Tov. Rishon means the day of Yom Tov, the first day of Yom Tov, and after a long discussion, the Gemara vindicates Reb Nachman Bar Yitzchak by saying that all the other Rishons taka mean the first day of Yom Tov, but here it says Harishon, and Harishon means Erev Yom Tov, and even though there it also says Harishon in other places, but that is already taken for a particular limud, that b'schus of 3 Rishons, Jews are going to be zoicha to another 3 Rishons. Reb Nachman Bar Yitzchak finished his presentation. Then came Rava, and Rava, who is very often the bar plukta, the one who argues with Abaye, says we have a completely new source. The pasuk says, "Lo sishchat al chametz dam zivchi." Do not slaughter the carbon Pesach with chametz. What's the time when you slaughter the carbon Pesach? The zman shchita is erev Pesach midday, from midday and on. That's the time the Torah says you're not allowed to have chametz. You could differentiate and say everyone should get rid of the chametz before they shech their own carbon Pesach. So the Gemara says, no, zman shchita amar Achman. The time of shchita, not when you shech it individually. Why? Since it says Tashbisu b'yom rishon, you have to eliminate. So we clearly see every Jew has to eliminate. And then the Torah gives us the time. When is it, like Sishchat al Chametz Dam Zivchi, when you're being makriv the carbon Pesach? So we assume that there's one uniform time for Klal Yisrael. When would that be? Everybody shechts individually. You shecht at 1, I shecht at 2, he shechts at 3, he shechts at 3:30, he shechts at 1:45. The answer is the time when you could shecht, which would be Erev Pesach by Chatzos. That's the limud of Rava, that's the shit of Rava. And for this we have a support from a Tana, and the Tana is none other than Rabbi Shmuel, who already had a brayso and told us this is the source that B'yom Rishon does not mean Erev, it does not mean Pesach. That's not when you makriv the carbon Pesach. You makriv the carbon Pesach. Erev Pesach, l'zishchat al chametz dam sivchi, proves that B'yom Rishon means what? B'yom Rishon means the day before Yom Tov. Now we still have a question why it's called B'yom Rishon. For this we can give 2 answers. The first answer is Rabbi Shmuel told us earlier that what? Rishon applies to the 14th day. At least it could apply to the 14th day. So since Geferlich, and Reb Nachman told us that sometimes the gewaldike, the literal pshat of Rishon means the day before. So Mela, we're fine. It says Ach b'yom Rishon. You're right. I would have said it's the first day, but I have like Sichchat al Chametz Dam Zivchi. I'm good. It's an interesting Ara. It's good to be mayor. If you look at your Chumash, if you take a look at your Chumash, Perik Yud Beis Pasuk Tesvav. If you have the blue Chumashim, it's page 183 again, right? I just want to show you Rashi. Take a look at Rashi. Ach bayoyim arishin tashbisu sa'or. You know, when you learn Chumash and Rashi, and you don't learn the Gemarah, so you just see the Rashi. But now you take a look at the Rashi. It's a very interesting Rashi. Ach bayoyim arishin tashbisu sa'or. You see the Rashi, yeah? Shmois parshas boy perikut beis pasuk tesvav. Zokt Rashi. May erev Yom Tov. We know that erev Yom Tov. V'karu rishon. Why is it called rishon? Lifishu lifnei hashiva. Because it comes before the 7. In other words, rishon doesn't mean the first of the 7. Rishon means the first prior to the 7. The first of the 7, not the first of the 7 itself. The first you get into the 7 days. Ach b'yom rishon, even though you could say b'yom rishon means the first of the 7, but Rashi says no. Rishon here means the day that comes first before the 7, the introductory way to the 7. Now, obviously, this is bothering Rashi because it's not what Rishon means. We have a source that a day before is called Rishon. K'moi harishon adam tivaled in Iyov Perik Tesvav, which means halifnei adam noiladata. Were you born before Adam? So Bayom Rishon means the day before. 7 days you should eat matzahs. On the day before, it's like it would say, Ach Bayom HaKoidem, right? Or Ach Bayom Lefanov Tashbisu 7 days. That would make sense. That's what a Rishon means. Frek Rashi, Oy Einoi Ela Rishon Shel Shiva. It could mean, but maybe it means the first of the 7 days. That makes a little more sense. Or at least it's an equally valid option. Nobody says Rishon doesn't mean first. And for Rashi, Talmud loymar, loy sishchat al chametz. Loy sishchat al pesach vadayim chametz kayim. You see how Rashi puts the sugya together. That's why it says loy sishchat al chametz. Don't shech the carbon pesach when you have chametz. You're shechting the carbon pesach erev Yom Tov. You're not allowed to have chametz anymore. So this teaches me that when it says Bayom Rishon, I am forced to say Rishon means the day before the 7 days, not the first day of the 7 days. Rashi took Rab Nachman by Yitzchak, and he took Rava, and he made from them Ashida Chayad Achas, and it's one cohesive interpretation. It's different shit to sing Gemarah. It's different shit to sing Gemarah. Yeah? So the Marsha teaches from this Rashi that Rava was not arguing with Rab Nachman. Rava was actually simplifying Rab Nachman. Reb Nachman said Rishon means the day before. So the Gemara started to attack him. The whole Parshas Emor, Rishon means the first day. L'kachtem lechem bayom Rishon, the first day of Sukkot. Bayom Rishon Shabbosin is the first day of Sukkot. Bayom Rishon Mikra Kodesh is the first day of Pesach. Since when did a Rishon become Erev Yom Tov? So the Gemara said no, because those Rishons are taken for a limud of Rabbi Shmuel that Beschar Shloisha Rishon you can have Shloisha. Rabbi says let's make it simpler. Let's make it simpler. Rishon can have two interpretations. Rishon can also mean Erev Yom Tov. Because over here I have a pasuk like Tishchat al Chametz Dam Zivchi, so therefore this Rishon becomes Erev Yom Tov. By Sukkot, by Lulav, by Pesach, I don't have the pasuk like Tishchat al Chametz Dam Zivchi. Doesn't say anywhere that I have to shake a Lulav Erev Sukkot. If it would say I have to shake a Lulav Erev Sukkot, I would touch by Yom Rishon there also Erev Yom Tov. So Rava basically confirmed Reb Nachman, and he answered all the questions on Reb Nachman by introducing this new pasuk Leishchat al Chametz Dam Zivchi. And that's why Rashi looks at the Gemara and Rashi puts it together. He doesn't see it as two opposite shittas. He says Rishon means the day before Yom Tov. Prove it to me. Prove it that it doesn't mean here the first day of Yom Tov. It could mean both. So I say Leishchat al Chametz Dam Zivchi. Rashi does not bring the limud of Abaya, right? Apparently, la halacha, he sees that Rava. Generally, we say Abaya v'Rava. Usually, besides six cases, Yael Kigam, but usually halacha kirava. So here also Rashi chaps on the limud of Rava to prove that the Rishon doesn't mean Yom Tov; it means Erev Yom Tov. In fact, also the Rambam in Hilchos Chametz Matzah brings Lo Sishchat al Chametz Dam Zivchi. It's interesting to quote the Lashon HaRambam. You mind giving me a Rambam there? It's on the top shelf, all the way on the right, but you have to look for Sefer Zmanim. Atazoi, Sefer Zmanim. No, all the way on top. All the way on top. Right. No, you're looking left. All the way on top. No, wrong shelf. Atazoi, Sefer Zmanim. You see Sefer Zmanim?
We don't learn nothing.
No. Put on your night. Put good question. You don't learn nach. How are you supposed to know all these things? The Rebbe sagt ben allemal, als man darf lernen nach, man darf eben mit Chumash. It's time to read the Rambam. Sagt the Rambam, Perik Sheni Hilchas Chametz Matzah. It's just good to see how the halachic authorities phrased it. Mitzvahs esim in atayre lahashbas chametz koydem zman isur achilasa. So mitzvahs esim in atayre to get rid of the chametz before the time that it's forbidden to eat it, meaning before chatzos. Shenemar bayoyim harishon tashbisu so'im b'teichem. Umipi hashmua lamdu. Mipi hashmua they learned. Shmua means Torah Shabal Peh. It comes from tradition. Shmua means Miloshin Shmiya, Shema Yisrael. What we heard, it's not written. Doesn't say clearly you have to eliminate Chametz Erev Pesach. Mipi hashmua, this is part of the oral tradition. It's part of the Shiur Baal Peh. Mipi hashmua lamdu. From here you see, it's not about Abaye was Mechadash, a new minig in Klal Yisrael, or even the Tanoim. This is Mipi hashmua. They just showed you where it's in the text. Mipi hashmua, sheberishin zel yoimar ba'asar. This Rishon is our boss. Rashi brings the limud of Rishon Adam Tivalet. The Rambam doesn't. The Rambam says, Mepi Shmua, Rishon is the 14th. Sefer Halacha. Raya l'davah, a proof. Mashakasu b'Torah l'sishchat al chametz dam zivchi. Keloimar l'sishchat ha-pesach v'adayin ha-chametz kayam. A proof is that the pasuk says, don't shech the korban pesach with chametz, u'shchitas ha-pesach hu yoimar ba asar ache chatzos. Shchitas ha-pesach is the 14th day after chatzos, and by that time, l'sishchat al chametz dam zivchi, you shouldn't have chametz. That's why the Rambam says it's a mitzvah sesi to get rid of the chametz before the zman isur hachil. The Rambam doesn't say the whole Torah with Rishon. Rashi brings the two together. He brings Reb Nachman Yitzchak, he brings Rava. Obviously, that's how the Marshal learns. Rashi felt there was no machloikas there, perhaps. Rava was just giving an interpretation to Reb Nachman Yitzchak. And Abai also needs Reb Nachman or Rabbi Shmuel, because we all have to justify why it says Bayoim Harishon. The Rambam is not a Pirush on Chumash. The Rambam is not trying to explain words. Rashi is a Pirush on Chumash. He has to explain what Bayoim Harishon means. The Rambam's Mishnah Torah is not a Pirush on Chumash. It's a Sefer Halacha. He's trying to explain the Halacha. He brings the pasuk of the Halacha, but he's not here to explain every word and how it fits. That's a limud b'fnatzmi. You could learn the Gemarah for that. I'm just clarifying why the Rambam doesn't feel the need l'chayra to explain Rish. So this was Rava's Shitta with support from Rabbi Yishmael. On this, the Gemara brings another two Shittas, another two Tanoim, who argue with Rabbi Yishmael. You have Rabbi Yossi, you have Rabbi Akiva, and you have Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Akiva says you don't need loisishchat. How do you know Tashbisu means Erev Yom Tif? Because it says Tashbisu. Tashbisu means burn chametz. You're not allowed to make a fire on Yom Tif, Rabbi Akiva says. So how could you burn chametz on Yom Tif? You're not allowed to make a fire. Have oras and av malacha. On Yom Tif it says lo yasach malachi. You're not allowed to do malacha. Only oichal nefesh. Only when you need to prepare food to eat. But mele burning chametz is not to eat. Emes, as you asked, Tosefos' question, you could burn the chametz and then use the coal for food, right? But that would mean that a Jew who has food and doesn't have to cook can't do tashbisu. So anybody who doesn't have food, who doesn't want to cook, he's eating by his mother, he's eating by the shver, he doesn't have tashbisu, it doesn't make sense. You can't make tashbisu only for those Jews who are going to use the coal to cook food. And if not, I just leave my chametz. I don't need food. I have food already out of Yom. I'm eating by somebody else. Whatever it is, I don't have to cook food. So there's no tashbisu anymore. So Mele Rabbi Akiva says you have to say that Tashbisu is Erev Yom Tov. It says B'Yom HaRishon, I know, but there's no choice because you can't make a fire on Yom Tov. That's the Shitta of Rabbi Akiva. The last Shitta is the Shitta of Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says Eino Tzarich. You don't need this either. And Rabbi Yossi said that B'Yom HaRishon obviously means Erev Yom Tov. Why? Ach Chilek. What's the Ach Chilek? We go back to what we said earlier in Abaya. It says in middle of the day, Tashbisu. When is the middle of the day? It can't be Yom Tov. Because on Yom Tov, you're not allowed to have chametz. Not even the night of Yom Tov, you're not allowed to have chametz. If it wouldn't say Ach Chilek, then what does Rashi say? If it wouldn't say Ach Chilek, we learned in last year, Rashi explains, then I would say, get rid of the chametz. Rashi's lashon is bein hashmashas. Get rid of the chametz bein hashmashas. B'Yom HaRishon means the first day of Yom Tov, right before the day begins, or right when the day begins, or right before the day begins. Get rid of the chametz, and that's how you makayim tashbisu. But since it says achilek, that means part of Yom Rishon. I'm allowed to have chametz. That can't be the first day of Yom Tov. So what do I have to say? I have to say that it is Erev Yom Tov. And this finishes all the sources. So we had Abaye with the stira of the Psukim. We had Rabbi Shmuel, Tanad Rabbi Shmuel with the Rishon, Reb Nachman with the Rishon, Rav Eloi Sishchat, Reb Akiva, Havore, Tashbisu means a fire, and Reb Yosi, Ach Chilek. 5 different shittas. 5. Abaye, Rabbi Shmuel, Reb Nachman, Rava, Akiva, Reb Yosi. 6 or 5, depends how you want to learn. If it's the same, not the same. 5 or 6 shittas, how you know that Tashbisu doesn't mean Yom Tov, it means Erev Yom Tov. And that's the maskon according to everybody. It's Mipi Hashmua that you have to get rid of the chametz, Erev Pesach, either before Chatzos or by Chatzos. Granted. Sources. 5 sources, yeah. They don't disagree on the fact. They just disagree on the source of the fact. Now here the question comes up, the question that we raised at the end of last year, which is the difference how Abaye phrased the source and Rabbi Yosi phrased it. L'chayre, they almost say the same thing, but they don't mamish say the same thing. Abaye brings a stira of 2 psukim. Shivas Yom Masar Lo Yemotze and Ach B'Yom Rishon Tashbisu. And therefore he says Tashbisu means Erev Yom Tov. It can't mean at night because Iskash, and we know that at night you're not allowed to have it. And then it can't mean in the morning because it says Achilek. Rabbi Yosi goes straight to Achilek. Rabbi Yosi says it says Achilek. It says Achilek. Yom Tov itself, you can't have Yom Tov. Ach can't mean Yom Tov because already at night you're not allowed to have. So Mela Ach, to say that a part of the day you have a heter to have chametz can't be the first day of Yom Tov. And Rashi gives this whole hesber over here, which l'chayre by Abaye he didn't mention a word about it. Well, it's Rashi's hesber. Without Ach, you would have said what? Bein Hashmoshes. And that would make sense. That what? Ach b'yom harishon means on Bein Hashmoshes. Pesach night, Erev Pesach, right when you're going into Pesach, Tashbisu, and that would make perfect sense. When night comes, you don't have chametz. When night comes, you don't have chametz. Why? Because you were mashbis the chametz. So Mele Shivas Yamim, you don't have chametz. Amachaya, Alts is good. Ach b'yom harishon Tashbisu, Bein Hashmoshes. And everything is good. It works. That's what Rashi said. Achilek tells me that I have to have some part of the day when I'm allowed to have chametz. Staltzich de Shaila. By Abaye, you never mentioned this. By Abaye, you said that Shiva Yom Sarle Matzav B'Bateicha means 7 days you're not allowed to have chametz. Once it included night, it meant that Tashbisu has to be Erev Yom Tov. You never said, no, maybe it's Bein Hashmashas, right? And the night, Taki, you won't have chametz. You never said that. That option was never included by Abaye. Here it's a new option. That Ach B'Yom Rishon Tashbisu could mean the first day of Yom Tov, and you mashbis the chametz Bein Hashmashas. By Abaye, once you said the word that at night you're not allowed to have chametz, it was over. Tashbisu meant Erev Yom Tov. This is the question. What is going on? Something is missing here. So I shared with you with the Minchas Chinuch Tainas, and he says 2 big chidushim. Rashi can't mean Bein Hashmashas. Bein Hashmashas is a Safek Yom, Safek Laila. What do you mean Bein Hashmashas? How do you burn chametz Bein Hashmashas? You're not allowed to have chametz Pesach at night. You're not allowed to have chametz Bein Hashmashas. We accept Bein Hashmashas as a Safek Yom, Safek Laila. You have to go l'chumra. If it's Bein Hashmashas, Erev Pesach, you're not allowed to have chametz. Rashi doesn't mean Bein Hashmashas. The Minchas Chinuch says, he says that doesn't make sense. Rashi meant a second before Bein Hashmashas. In other words, right before Shkia. Burn your chametz if Shkia is 6:30 p.m. Erev Pesach, burn your chametz 6:29, you're good. 6:29 you burn your chametz, and 6:30 starts Pesach, Bein Hashmashas, Safek Laila, and you don't have chametz. Ayay Bazay B'Yom Harishon is not Pesach, it's Erev Pesach. So you're back to the same problem. You want to tell me without Ach, we're good. B'Yom Harishon means what? B'Yom Harishon means the first day of Pesach. When are you going to get rid of the chametz? A second before Bein Hashmashas, before Shkia. That's not B'Yom Harishon, that's Erev Pesach. It's Erev Pesach already. So you're telling me, no, it's really good. The Ach is the problem. The Ach is not the problem. Even without Ach, you don't have an issue. Even without Ach, you have a problem. Which is how we learned it by Abaye. By Abaye, he understood. Either it's the night of Pesach or it's Erev Pesach. But it's Erev Pesach, B'Yom Harishon is not the first day of Pesach. It's Erev Pesach. You have a problem. The question is when Erev Pesach. So Ach tells me when. But in Rabbi Yosi, Rashi was found a new chiddush. So here is where the Minchas Chinuch comes up with his chiddush, quite a big one, and that is that Abaye and Rabbi Yossi are arguing about the fundamental question of what Tashbisu means. Back to the Minchas Chinuch's famous chkira, what Tashbisu means. You could teach Tashbisu in two ways. And the example I gave was from tefillin. When you put on tefillin, there's a mitzvah to put on tefillin. What's the mitzvah? Is the mitzvah the putting on of the tefillin? Or the mitzvah is the result of the putting on the tefillin? When Torah says you should put on tefillin, the mitzvah is not the putting on. The mitzvah is you should be in tefillin. You should have tefillin on you. The way you have tefillin on you is by putting on tefillin. But that's nicht the mitzvah. L'may nafkamina, the big nafkamina would be if you put on tefillin in the middle of the night. And then you wear it by day. If the mitzvah is putting on the tefillin, I put on the tefillin in the wrong zman. It's like shaking a lulav on Chanukah. You can't put on tefillin at night. If the mitzvah is having the tefillin, it's fine. You're allowed to buy a shofar erev Rosh Hashanah. Putting on the tefillin is a hachana to the mitzvah. It's not the mitzvah. So you were yotze the mitzvah. So by tefillin we say it's the chiluk of shal yad and shal rosh. The Rogatchover holds that's a shittas Rambam. Rabbi Yosef Engel holds it's a shittas Yerushalmi. Shal yad the mitzvah is to put on. Shal rosh the mitzvah is to have. V'hoyu l'toitafes ukshartem lois. What's the mitzvah of Tashbisu? You could say Ach b'yom rishon Tashbisu means on Erev Pesach Tashbisu. Get rid of the chametz. Kum v'aseh, it's a mitzvah to destroy chametz. That's the mitzvah. And it has a time. What's the time? Erev Pesach b'chatzois. Achilek. That's the time of Tashbisu. Just like there's a time to eat matzah at night, there's a time to get rid of chametz. When? Erev Pesach b'chatzois. Oh, according to this, the Minchas Chinuch has even a svara. It's quite a strange svara, but it's an interesting svara. If you don't have chametz, you weren't mekayim Tashbisu. You weren't oived on aveira. You're good. No bayira, no bayima. You're a good man. No sins. No sins. But the mitzvah of Tashbisu you didn't fulfill because you don't have chametz. You didn't fulfill the mitzvah. It's not a chesaron. It's not. You weren't oived on a mitzvah. There's no mitzvah to have chametz and do Tashbisu. Nobody says that. But you weren't mekayim the mitzvah. A mashal. If you don't wear a beged that has 4 corners with tzitzis, you're not mevatel a mitzvah. You're not oived an aveira. It's midas chasidus. We buy tzitzis. We want to be mekayim the mitzvah of tzitzis and make a bracha. Right? But you don't have to. There's no chiyuv to go buy a beged of arba kanfus. If you have a beged of arba kanfus and you want to wear it, you have to put on tzitzis, emes. There's no chiyuv to buy a house and put a mezuzah. You want to be homeless? I mean, it's not a geschmacka thing. I mean, kol misheina bayis, the Gemara says, eina yodam. If you have a house, you have to have a mezuzah. You understand what I'm saying? Tashbisu is a mitzvah. If you have chametz, you could be mashbis, and if you don't have the chametz, the chametz can tainas, but tashbisu you didn't do. That's one way of learning tashbisu. Another way of learning tashbisu is that's not pshat. Tashbisu means eliminate the chametz so that you should have a house without chametz. That's the mitzvah. The mitzvah is sheyehei mushbas. Tashbisu is the hachana to the mitzvah. L'may nafkamina, pashat. Let's say you don't have chametz. You don't have chametz. You don't eat chametz. You're a gluten-free house. You're a gluten-free guy. Huh? Oat-free, spelt-free, barley-free, wheat-free, out, spelt-free, rye-free. All the chameshus minidaga. No grain, or at least no chametz dika grain comes into your house. You don't do b'dikas chametz. You don't have makom shei machnisim b'chametz. Shmira al gabe, there's no chametz. Were you mekayim tashbisu? If tashbisu is an active mitzvah, you weren't mekayim it. If tashbisu is erev Pesach by chatzos, you shouldn't have chametz. Of course you were mekayim it. Because you're not mekayim the mitzvah through an act. You mekayim the mitzvah how? Through not having chametz. Usually you have to get rid of the chametz because you have chametz. But if you don't have chametz, you're still mekayim. You're mekayim the mitzvah through sheva al tasa, not through kumvase. The tashbisu is only hachana. Where's the real nafkamina between the two besides the other ones? We spoke earlier in the previous shiur. Is benegei the zman. If you say tashbisu is a pa'ula, an act, and Torah gives it a time, you have to do it at that time. Torah says, at night you should eat matzah. You don't eat matzah erev Pesach, you eat matzah the night of Pesach. Torah says, Chazal say light a Hanukkah candle the night of Chafei Kislev. You light a Hanukkah candle, Zayin Teves. You're not Mekayim the mitzvah of Hanukkah. Why not? It has a time. There's a time for lulav, there's a time for shofar, there's a time for fasting, there's a time for mikra megillah. There's a time for tashbisu. What's the time? Ach b'yoyim harishon tashbisu, ach chilek ulei sishchat al chametz, chatzos, you have to do it. But what if you say tashbisu is only a hachana for the mitzvah? The mitzvah is not having chametz, so when do you have to get rid of the chametz? Anytime. There's no time. You can get rid of the chametz asar b'teves. You get rid of the chametz pudim. You get rid of the chametz isuchad pesach. Buy chametz, get rid of it, and you're good. Why? Because the mitzvah is not tashbisu. The mitzvah is not to have chametz as a result of tashbisu. What do I care when you do tashbisu? Do it pudim. Do it chalamayit sukkos. Do it tu b'shvat. It's like a person will say, by the way, since the mitzvah of lighting Hanukkah candles is on the 25th day of Kislev, you have to go buy the oil and buy the wicks, or make the wicks, yeah, and buy the menorah on the 25th day of Kislev. Shtusim? I don't care if you make your wicks on some Gedalia. I don't care if you set up your menorah Isru Chag Sukkos. Some people do it. Real yakas do it. After Sukkos, they're ready for Hanukkah. Some people on Hanukkah, they're not ready for Hanukkah. Some people have their latkes already. Isru Chag Pesach, they have their latkes, yeah? Depends what type of alabaster you're dealing with. I don't care. Buying the oil is nicht the mitzvah. Buying the oil is the hachana to the mitzvah. Do it whenever you want. The mitzvah is not to go buy oil. The mitzvah is to light a candle. The mitzvah is not tashbisu to eliminate the chametz. Eliminate the chametz a week before. Was atmeh. That's not the mitzvah. The mitzvah is the result of tashbisu, the nifel of tashbisu. Sheyei mushbis v'oimet. You Teves. L'maynaf kemin zog the minchas chinuch. He says, "Ey bazay, if you learn that the mitzvah of tashbisu is sheval tasa, Abaya stira is not a stira. Abaya taina that says shivas yamim yin al of chametz. Ach b'yoyim harishon tashbisu." So Rashi said, there's a problem. Why? Because tashbisu was on the first day, and the first day in a lot of chametz. But if tashbisu is not the kiyum ha-mitzvah, tashbisu is the achana to the kiyum ha-mitzvah. So what's the problem? B'yoyim harishon means the first day of Pesach. Tashbisu means that what? You should not have chametz. How do you not have chametz? Through tashbisu. Do tashbisu a minute before Yom Tov. 1 minute before Yom Tov. 1 minute before Shkia, make a fire, burn the chametz. Shkia comes out of Pesach. I don't have chametz. I was mekayim tashbisu. It says ach b'yoyim harishon tashbisu. But if tashbisu is only a definition of a hachana sheyei mushbis v'oimid, so then you could teach very well that it's not a stira. Tain is the minchas chinuch. That's the machloikas. Abaya holds tashbisu is kum v'aseh. So ach b'yom harishon tashbisu means on the yom harishon you have to be mashbis. It's the zman of the mitzvah, because that's the mitzvah. If the mitzvah is to be mashbis, the Torah gives it a zman. You can't say it's a day before, but meil it has to be b'yom harishon. Unless you say b'yom harishon means erev Pesach, then you're good. But if you say b'yom harishon means the first day of Yom Tov, you run into a major problem, because it says lo yimatzeh. So Abaya says b'yom harishon has to mean what? Erev Yom Tov. When Erev Yom Tov? In the morning? Achilek. Rabbi Yossi tainas that Tashbisu is not kumvase. Tashbisu is what? Shevi Altas. But mainly he doesn't have the problem. That's why he doesn't bring Trei Kroi. Doesn't bring two psuk. He could say Ach b'yom harishon Tashbisu means tak on the first day of Pesach it should be mushbis. It says Tashbisu. So you're going to type Tashbisu means you should be mashbis in order that it should be mushbis. But it's not that the pa'ul of the ashbas has to be b'yom harishon. It's going to be whenever you want. The vart is, get rid of it. You should have it rid. Your house should be rid of it. Mela, I don't have a stira. So without achilek, what do I say? I say ach b'yom harishon taka means the first day of Yom Tov. So Rashi says bein hashmoshes, get rid of the chametz. Because Chiddush says he doesn't mean bein hashmoshes, because bein hashmoshes is taka safek laila. You're not allowed to have chametz. He means a minute before bein hashmoshes. Get rid of it, and you're mekayim b'yom harishon tashbisu. That b'yom harishon it's mushbis, and you don't have chametz. Else is good. At night you didn't have chametz, and you were mekayim tashbisu. The problem of Rabbi Yossi is he doesn't have a stira. Abaya doesn't bother him. What bothers him is ach. Ach is a problem. I got rid of the chametz a minute before Ben Hashmoshes. Very nice. Pesach it was mushbis. But ach b'yom harishon tashbisu means that only part of Yom Rishon the chametz has to be mushbus. That's not true. So b'meila, Rabbi Yossi has to say it means Erev Pesach. At kan the shit of the Minchas Chinuch. How? It's Chasofik Laila.
Would mean literally from Ben not then you have to burn it. Rashi touched the pussy. Rashi said the im gain the mishpach ach the ila what means
Ben Hashmoshes.
Guess what then fact? If we learn and without the ach the yom is done then
so you're saying when Rashi says al karcha chashbasas kishetechshach, right? V'im kein loy mashkachas achalok dilav ach ikalameimar b'yom harishon bein hashmoshes shu aschalas hayoim. You're saying Rashi means from bein hashmoshes it has to be mushbas, not bein hashmoshes you're mashbas the chametz. From bein hashmoshes it has to be mushbas, not like the Minchas Chinuch who says he wasn't medayik. He meant really before bein hashmoshes because he's not talking here peulas hashbasa. He's talking sheyeh mushbas. He's talking to be mushbas. That's what he means. So the bein hashmoshes could be bediyuk. The bein hashmoshes, from bein hashmoshes, it has to be in a state of mushbas. So when it says tashbisu by Yom Rishon, it doesn't mean literally eliminated by Yom Rishon. You're not allowed to eliminate it by Yom Rishon. It means yeh mushbas v'oimed by Yom Rishon. Obviously, you have to be at mashbas before. In other words, tashbisu in a way that by Yom Rishon it should be gone already. When you're saying from bein hashmoshes, good. The ach is a problem because the ach means that part of it doesn't have to be mushbas. Part of it, in other words, I could go into the Yom Rishon and have chametz. That can't be Yom Tov. So the Melech Rabbi Yossi says you have to say it means Erev Yom Tov. It means Erev Yom Tov. Okay, well, it's a good harder. You want to know what Tashbisu means, Bitul or beer? We'll get to that in a moment. The Fizeh, the Minchas Chinuch says, it could be that this is the machloikas of a lot of shittas on this page. Abaya holds, it's kum v'aseh. Rava holds, it's sheva al tasa. So Rava didn't have a problem from Abaya. That Tashbisu can't be by Yom Rishon. Tashbisu could be by Yom Rishon because Tashbisu doesn't mean Tashbisu. Tashbisu means it should be mushbas. So therefore Rava has to have a new source. What's his source? Lo sishchat al chametz dam zivchi. And he says maybe that's why halachic Rava. Because you don't have to say that Tashbisu means you have to do a hashbasa and you have to go buy chametz if you don't have chametz. Even if you don't have chametz, according to Rava, you mekayim Tashbisu. And Meli doesn't have a bias problem, so he needs a new source. Rabbi Yossi Taka also didn't have a bias problem. That's why Rabbi Yossi brought achilek. Rabbi Akiva, on the other hand, what does Rabbi Akiva taina? Tashbisu means making a fire, and I want to make a fire on Yom Tov. But if Rabbi Akiva would agree that Tashbisu is Sheva al Tasa, he also wouldn't have a problem. He could say, Ach b'yom harishon Tashbisu means, of course the first day of Yom Tov you shouldn't have chametz. Make a fire on Erev Yom Tov, make a beautiful big fire, get rid of your chametz, and it's going to be mushbas. But Rabbi Akiva apparently weiter held that it's an inyan of kum v'aseh. And Mamela, he had a raya, another raya. Oopsie. He had a raya from where? He had a raya from Tashbisu. That's Rabbi Akiva. Which essentially, if you look into it, if you remember, and I'm going to ask you to take a look on Daf Daled Amud Beis, where the Gemara said, Midairaisa, Bitul Ba'al Masagi, right? Min HaTorah, Bitul is enough. What did Rashi say? The Ksiv Tashbisu, V'loi Ksiv Tevaru, V'hashbasa the Levi Hashbasa. Rashi learns that Tashbisu means also Bitul. It should have said Tevaru, you should burn chametz or destroy chametz. It says Tashbisu. Tashbisu means the chametz should cease. This teaches you that there's a new way of getting rid of chametz. Believe in your heart to be mevatel chametz. Rashi said earlier that Avdalan Amid Aleph, it means to be mesiach das from it and deem it as offer. Comes Tosefos mit der Reise Bitul Baal Masagi. Take a look. Now you'll appreciate the questions. Pirish bekuntus mit the ksiv Tashbisu v'loy ksiv tevaru al mashbasa belevi v'kosheleri Hi hashbasav ori he veloy bitul. The tanya b'shmaitun abakiva omer ain't sarich hareyu omer tashbisu umatzinu lavar sheyav malacha. We see from the sugya Rabbi Akiva says clearly Tashbisu means make a fire, not Bitul. Lavar sheyav malacha. Bitul is not an av malacha. To say that chametz is offer is not an av malacha. Rabbi Akiva learns that Tashbisu means making a fire. How could Rashi argue with Rabbi Akiva? We see this in the sugya of Gemarah. But then he asks another question. V'oid. Here's the key. Tashbisu amrin in the kaman may achilek shu mishei shoyos l'mayla. We're going to learn in the Gemarah in a few minutes that Tashbisu means what? Tashbisu, when is the time of Tashbisu? Ach chilek. When is the time of Tashbisu? Mishei shoyos ulamayla. The zman of Tashbisu is after 6 hours, because achilek, frek Tosefos. If Tashbisu is Bitul, you could never do Tashbisu, because you're not allowed to be mevatel your chametz at the end of 6 hours. Why? Because as we're going to learn on Davav, Bitul chametz means you're deeming the chametz ownerless. If the chametz is not yours, you can't be mevatel it. Erev Pesach after Chatzos, the chametz is not yours anymore. You're not allowed to eat it. You're not allowed to sell it. You're not allowed to have it. You're not allowed to own it. So you can't do Bitul chametz when the chametz is not yours. I can't make your jacket ownerless. I can't be mafkir your house. I could only make my jacket ownerless. So Mela Bitul only works before the end of Sheish Shoyos. Frek Tosefos. How could Rashi say Tashbisu means Bitul? The Gemarah says Achilek teaches me that the Zman of Tashbisu is when? At the end of 6 hours. At the end of 6 hours, you can't do Bitul. So Mela Tosefos proves from here that Tashbisu means what? Getting rid of it physically. That you could do. Mishei shoyos ulamayla. 12 o'clock p.m. Erev Pesach, you're not allowed to do Bitul anymore. You could do Bitul 11:59, not 12 o'clock. No Bitul. Huh? No. Why? So Tosefos says if Tashbisu is Bitul, you can't do it at 12 o'clock. So how could the Gemarah give us man of Tashbisu achilek? So what do you see from here? Tosefos says that Tashbisu can't mean Bitul, because Bitul has to be earlier. Tashbisu has to mean what? Physically get rid of the chametz. Tain is the Minchas Chinuch. This is a big shaila on Rashi. You with us? It's nicht verstanden. Let's mal sagen, nicht verstanden the shaila von Tosefos. I'll explain it to you. If you'll concentrate, you'll understand. Tashbisu has a time. What's the time? You remember? What's the time of Tashbisu? Sheish shoyos ulamayla. Erev Pesach, 12 o'clock p.m. What do you have to do 12 o'clock p.m.? What do you have to do? What's Tashbisu? What do you have to do? Burn it. What does Rashi say you have to do? Believe. Are you allowed to be mevatel chametz 12 o'clock p.m.? Does it work? If you take your chametz 12 o'clock p.m. this Erev Pesach or 1 o'clock, you mevatel it. What's the halacha? You're over on by your rabbi your Monsey. Why? It's not yours to be mevatel anymore. Bitul has to be before. If the zman of Tashbisu is chatzos, it can't mean Bitul. Because you can't, Bitul doesn't work then. If you say Tashbisu means to burn it or physically destroy it, you could do it by chatzos. That's the halacha, you do it by chatzos. But if it means Bitul, it can't be. So Rashi is being contradicted by the whole sugya of Gemarah. The whole sugya of Gemarah is Tashbisu starts at the end of Sheish Shoyos. If it starts at the end of Sheish Shoyos, it can't be Bitul. Verstehst du denn nicht? Das ist eine starke Scheile. Hast du Entfer? Du gehst a big Scheile. Tain is the Minchas Chinuch that Rashi holds that Tashbisu is not kum v'aseh. Tashbisu is sheval tasa. You understand? Rashi holds Tashbisu is Bitul, but Tashbisu is not a Pa'ula. Tashbisu is the hachana to the Pa'ula. So when is the Bitul? The Bitul could be a day before. The Bitul could be a month before. The Bitul could be an hour before. The Bitul could be 3 hours before. By Chatzos, Yehei Mushbaz. Of course Ach means by Chatzos. But if Tashbisu is not a Pa'ula, Tashbisu is only hachana to the Pa'ula. So I don't care if you do Bitul 2 hours before. Bitul is not the mitzvah. Bitul is the hachana to the mitzvah. By being it mevatel, when chatzos comes, you don't have chametz. So male Tashbisu could mean Bitul. But right, Tosefos learns what Tashbisu is. Kum v'aseh. If it's an act of Tashbisu, it has a zman. What's the zman? The Zman is Chatzos. What do you have to do by Chatzos? Not have Chametz, but get rid of Chametz. It can't be Bitul, it has to be Avara. That's how he answers the Kasha of Tosefos on Rashi. Huh? So B'meila, Tosefos would learn that it would be an inyan of Kum Vasei. It would be an inyan of Kum Vasei. And that's why you mashpis the chametz after Zman HaIsur, by the Zman HaIsur, and then it can't be Bitul. It has to be an inyan of Avara. Where Rashi would learn that Tashbisu happens before the Zman. How can it be before the Zman? It could be before the Zman because the mitzvah is not the act. The mitzvah is the result of the act. I don't care if you do the hachana before the Zman, just like I don't care if you make wicks before Chanukah. It's a gate minishton. The mitzvah is not making the wicks. The mitzvah is lighting the wicks. The mitzvah is not having chametz. Chatzos, you didn't have chametz. So Rashi, therefore, Tainas halacha Rava, because Rava holds it Sheval Tasa. And then Chumash also follows Rava Leisishchat al Chametz Dam Zivchi. If you take a look in Rambam, the Rambam's lashon I just quoted you is Hilchas Chametz Perek Beis Mitzvah Sesim and Atayra Lahashbes Chametz Koidem Zman Isur Achilosoi. When is the mitzvah to be mashbes the Chametz? Before the Zman of Isur Achila. Isur Achila starts by Chatzos. You have to get rid of it before. Achilek. You take a look in Halacha Beis, and Rambam says, Ubahi hashbasa zu amura b'Torah. What is hashbasa? Listen to the Rambam. Mahi hashbasa? Sheyevatel hachametz beliboy. V'yachshav oisoi ka'ofar. V'yasim beliboy she'em b'rishusoi chametz klal. V'shekol chametz she'b'rishusoi hareyu ka'ofar u'kedover she'em b'tzoyrech klal. The Rambam is like mispashat. What Bitul is. All believe that in your life you decide that chametz is worthless, it's dust, it's awful, you're not interested in it, you don't need it, it's valueless, it's insignificant. I don't have chametz in my house. This is chametz, this is not chametz, it's garbage, it's worthless. It's like a piece of dust in my house. It's not in my rishus. It's nothing, it's worthless. What does Rambam learn? Tashbisu is what? Bitul. Just like Rashi. When does he say you have to do it? Before the Zman. You can't do Bitul after the Zman. I understand why the Rambam learned it this way. Tosefos says clearly, Tashbisu doesn't mean Bitul. Tashbisu means Havara. In fact, Tosefos has to explain, where do you know Bitul from? And Tosefos answers that you don't have a pasuk for Bitul. Bitul is just an inyan of Hefker. Just like in the whole Torah, there's a concept called Hefker. Bitul Chametz doesn't really mean Bitul Chametz, it means Hefker Chametz. If you make your Chametz Hefker Rish Chodesh Nisan, you're not over on the Chametz. Why? Because we have a limud, lo yirah lecha. That's going to be the next sugya, the famous base. Shalcha yatarat alavroy shalachayim. I'm allowed to have somebody else's chametz in my house. You're not mekayim tashbisu. According to Tosefos, you're mevatel chametz. You're not mekayim tashbisu. You don't have a problem because it's not your chametz. It's like I take all my chametz and I give it away to somebody a month before Pesach. Good. That's what Bitul is. Bitul is hefker. That's what Tosefos time is. I have to have hefker b'fnei shloisha. He says that's a din midrabanan. And I tell you don't need hefker b'fnei shloisha. That's the end of Tosefos. He doesn't learn that Tashbisu is Bitul, because Tashbisu is by Chatzos, and by Chatzos you can't do Bitul, because Tosefos holds Tashbisu is a pula. Tashbisu is a pula. So you want to know, like Tosefos, would Abaya and Rabbi Yossi hold mamish the same thing? Hold mamish the same thing. So let's take a seat. Let's take a look here. Okay? I'm going to show you how bediuk everything is. Take a look a moment on the Avdalah Amid Aleph. Take a look at Avdalah Amid Aleph. In the middle of the page in Rashi, it says, Bein li Reb Meir, Bein li Reb Yehuda. You see Rashi, Bein li Reb Meir, Bein li Reb Yehuda. The iflugu b'masnisin b'harchaka the avud Rabbanon lo yiraisa. They argue how far the Rabbanon asert chametz before Chatzos. 1 hour, 2 hours. Take a look at Rashi. Einei aser min ha-Torah beval yirah uba'achila ela m'shei shoyes m'shavru shei shoyes. Min ha-Torah you're not aser in bal yirah or eating chametz, only chametz midday. K'di yalef l'kamon min achilek u'min lo'isishchat al chametz. We're going to learn next page from ach or from lo'isishchat that only midday are you over, and Rashi says you're over on Bal Yirah, which by the way is a chiddush atzum, because most Rishonim hold Bal Yirah, Bal Yamotzi starts at night. By day there's a mitzvah of Tashbisu. Bal Yirah is at night, Shivas Yomim. Rashi here learns that you're over on Bayera already by Chatzos, and you're not allowed to eat it anymore. Ba'achila and Bayera. Okay? What do you see from Rashi? That already at the end of Sheish Shoyes, you have an Isser Bayera by Monsey. So when do you have to get rid of the chametz? Before. Take a look at Take a look at the next Rashi. Nivdoik chametz betchilas sheish. What are his next words? V'koidem isura yevarenu. You'll be boidik betchilas sheish, and you'll get rid of it before the isur. Lama li lagdum kolai. Why do you have to do it the night before? So the Gemara explains you have to do it the night before, the Chazal said. But here we're saying do it in the beginning of the 6th hour. Do it 11 o'clock, and 11:58 you'll get rid of the chametz. Again, koidem isuroi yiva'arenu. But we see clearly from Tosefos that Tashbisu has to be this man. Now here we come to a chiddush in the Chassam Sofer in the Pnei Yeshua. A gewaltige chiddush in Ach Chilek according to Rashi. The way the Welt learns what's Ach Chilek means, Ach B'yom HaRishon Tashbisu means part of the day Tashbisu. Right? Part of the day Tashbisu. In other words, part of the day you could relax. Part of Yom HaRishon, get rid of it. When? I split it. Or we said Ach is the same letters like Chetz. So Chetz Tashbisu. But the first word, Ach Chilek, means you split the day into two. Right? One half of the day you're good, you don't have to do anything. The second of the day, Tashbisu. Says the Chassam Sofer, Rashi didn't learn the Gemarah like that. He learned the exact opposite than everybody else. Listen to this. Ach b'yom harishon Tashbisu means Ach b'yom harishon, split the day into two. And the first half, Tashbisu. The second half, you shouldn't have chametz anymore. Ach Chilek means that b'yom harishon, half of the first day you have a chiyuv Tashbisu. The second half, you're not allowed to have chametz anymore. We learn like this. Ach b'yom harishon means the chiyuv of Tashbisu starts when? Chatzos. The first half of the day you could sit on your couch and read the newspaper or learn Maseches Pesachim lahavdil. When it comes Chatzos, jump up, Tashbisu. Right? So it's a kula. It says fakert. Ach b'yom harishon Tashbisu, the mitzvah of Tashbisu chilek. Don't think you have a whole day for Tashbisu. No. Without Ach, I would say, b'yom harishon, a whole day Tashbisu. From the morning till the evening, machafaya Tashbisu. So the Gemara, no, Tashbisu is the first half of the day. Ach b'yom harishon Tashbisu, ach chilek. The first half of the day, you're allowed to have chametz and get rid of the chametz. By 12 o'clock, you're not allowed to do Tashbisu anymore. By 12 o'clock, the chametz has to be gone. No, according to this, you could say, even according to Rashi, that it's kum v'asei. The kum v'asei is on before chatzos. The kum v'asei is before chatzos. We type Tosefos says achilek. By chatzos is Tashbisu. How do you have Bitul? Rashi doesn't touch achilek. Tashbisu starts by chatzos. Achilek means Tashbisu ends by chatzos. Verstehst? That's why you have to burn it before. Kum v'asei Bitul, kum v'asei Biur. Rashi holds Tashbisu is both. Obviously, Rashi has to answer Rabbi Akiva. The Rambam says Rashi holds Tashbisu means both. Sai Bitul and Sai Biur. It means Biur, but because the Torah uses the word Tashbisu, we learn it also means Bitul. Rashi is not Shoylel Biur. That's how we answer the first question of Tosefos. How do we answer the second question of Tosefos? Achilek. We learn Achilek means split the day in two. Tashbisu starts the second half of the day. Rashi says no. Without Ach, we would say Tashbisu is all day. And Ach tells me that Tashbisu, it's a chumrah, it's not a kula. We teach Ach is a kula. Ach is a chumrah. We teach, without Ach, you could be mashbis the chum. It's a whole day till Pesach, right? That's pshat. Zog the Gemarah. Ach b'yom harishon, no. Achilek. The Tashbisu is only the first half of the day. The second half of the day, I don't want any chametz. The chiyuv of Tashbisu is the first chelik of chatzos. In other words, from 6 in the morning till chatzos, Do Tashbisu. I don't care if you do it 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Just like Shofar. Kol hayoim kosher l'kriya Shofar, yeah? Chatzi me'ayoim kosher l'biya chametz. Once Chatzois comes, ois Tashbisu. That's where Rashi says, Bal Yeirah. Let's think about it in our way, in our terms. According to Shittas HaTosefos, that you do Tashbisu after the Zman, yeah? When is Bal Yeirah? At night. When is Bal Yeirah? At night. So throughout Erev Pesach, from after Chatzois, you have to burn your chametz. And that's the halacha according to most poskim. Like Tosefos, Tashbisu starts by Chatzois. Shulchan Aruch Harav, the Balatanya writes in Siman Tov Mem Hey. Let's say you have chametz, min ha-Torah. Comes 12 o'clock, and you start collecting your chametz, and you make a big fire, and it goes till 6 o'clock p.m. Were you over? No. You were Mekayim Tashbisu, exactly the way it is. You started at 12, and you did Tashbisu. The Chachamim said start at 11. Fine. You started, you're good. By night, you're going to be over on Bayirah. Like Rashi, when you're over on Bayirah, Soif Shei Shoyes. So just like by us, when we pass Bayirah is at night. By night, you already have to finish your Tashbisu. Zok Rashi, Bayirah starts after Chatzois. When do you have to finish your Tashbisu? By Chatzois. That's the shit of Rashi. You could say it's Kum V'asei. The Ach comes before. A whole different Mahalach. Achidish and Achilek. Some Soif is Achidish, huh? Weil jemand ist Geschmack. What a good end for Tosefos. Tosefos hat a chamoyre de Keshaila of Rashi. Ach is after Chatzois. After Chatzois you can't do Bitul. How can Achilek be Tashbisu? You can't do Bitul. Wird nicht das Ball von der Kasche. Es hamoyre de Kasche. Aber du wirst verstanden, was durchgesprungen. Wie entfest du? Also Shaval Tasse. Das ist aber Achidish. Das ist Achidish, Shaval Tasse. I'm giving you another Mahalach. It's not a stira lahalacha that you have to get rid of the chametz before, but it's a different avona. Now it's a different avona. Now give a cook. One word also from the Chassam Sofer. Also a gewaldike chap. Rabbi Yossi, Tosefos is good, is the last line of Tosefos. The Avdalah Amid Beis, Kamoshe Doirish Rabbi Yossi HaGalili Lekamon. Tosefos is good, is that this Rabbi Yossi is Rabbi Yossi HaGalili. Why? Not the regular Rabbi Yossi. Pashat. He's arguing with Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yossi was a Talmud of Rabbi Akiva. To get up and argue with Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Akiva would be very rare. Rabbi Yossi HaGalili was a bar plukta. He was a colleague of Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Akiva. This Bryce has three shittas. Rabbi Shmuel, Loi Sishchet, Rabbi Akiva, Tashbisu Avara, Rabbi Yossi Achilek. So Tosefos learns it's Rabbi Yossi HaGalili. The Tzlach says, the Tzlach says it's Geschmack because Rabbi Yossi HaGalili was a contemporary of Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Akiva. Okay. So this Rabbi Yossi is Rabbi Yossi HaGalili. Oy Bazei, you have Ragoyin Shechab. When Rashi says that Abaya Tainas, that Tashbisu can't be in the 7 days. Why? Because in the 7 days you're not allowed to have chametz. And Tashbisu means you're getting rid of chametz on the first day. Right? So the Minchas Chinuch Tainas, because it's Kum V'asei. It's not Sheval Tasa. But there's another Mahalach. And the Mahalach is, if Tashbisu means Bitul, like Rashi, right? You're not allowed to be Mevatel after the Zmana Isser. So when the Torah says Bayirah Bal Yimotzi, you're not allowed to have chametz, you're not allowed to own chametz, you're not allowed to eat chametz, you're not allowed to sell chametz. You can't do Bitul. Rashi let in the what's Tashbisu? Bitul. So Abaya says, of course you can't do Tashbisu on Yom Tov. Why? Shiva Yom Yisrael Yimatzav B'Teichem. You're not allowed to be mevatel achar zman ha'isur. So Mela for sure you can't do Tashbisu by Yom HaRishon. So we have to say when is Tashbisu? Tashbisu is Erev Yom Tov before the zman ha'isur. Very good. So Mele Rashi time is what's Abaya's Mahalach? It can't be on Pesach. Why? Because it's the Zman HaIsur. Frag the Gemarah, maybe it's the night of Pesach. Maybe Bayirah starts only tomorrow. Zog the Gemarah, no, Bayirah starts at night. So maybe you can't be Mavatel. So when do you have to be Mavatel? You have to say it's Erev Pesach, before the Zman HaIsur. Frag the Gemarah, maybe in the morning. So we say Achilek. Fine. Rabbi Yossi HaGalili, later, Daf Chav Ches Pesachim, has a moire de Kechiddush. Rabbi Yossi HaGalili holds that chametz is mutter b'hana the whole Pesach. That's Rabbi Yossi HaGalili. You're allowed to feed your dogs, you're allowed to feed your cats, you're allowed to sell chametz. That's Rabbi Yossi HaGalili's shitta. Chametz mutter b'hana kol shiva. Are you allowed to be mevatel chametz then after this man? According to Rabbi Yossi, afata. It's yours. Rabbi Yossi holds it's your chametz. You'll have anos. You'll be mevatel after this man. This shit is Rabbi Yossi Haglili. If Rabbi Yossi Haglili, he can't say that once Yom Rishon comes, there's no Tashbisu. Of course he can be mevatel. Because he can be mevatel after this man Isser, because it's mutter ba'ano the whole 7 days. So he doesn't have a problem with this. Zakt Rashi, do it bein hashmoshes. You can do it bein hashmoshes. I don't care. You can do it bein hashmoshes. Mishecha shecha, do it. You're telling me you're not allowed to have chametz. Fine. You're not allowed to have chametz 7 days. You're not allowed to have chametz even at night. Ach b'yom harishon, the beginning of the first day, get rid of the chametz. You won't have chametz. It's bein hashmoshes already. I don't care. You could still do bitul. But it says ach. Because it says ach, it means that you don't have to do it in the beginning of the day. You have 6 hours. However you learn the ach, if it's for chatzos, if it's before chatzos, but you have 6 hours to do it. That can be b'yom harishon. Nobody says 12 o'clock midnight after you say there, you go be mashbis chametz. That doesn't make sense. That's how he tainas the diuk in Rashi. And according to this, bein hashmoshes would make sense. Ich venish nispol from bein hashmoshes. It's already the night, so what? The problem was bitul. You can't do bitul achazman. Do bitul achazman. It's not achazman isuri because you can have a no. Because it's not Rabbi Yossi, it's Rabbi Yossi Haglili. Now to be mesakim the inyan. Yeah, one last nakud, then we'll finish with this. Just take a look at the Tosefos uksiv ach b'yom harishon tashbisu. And Taka, you see here a different shit in Abaye. You see the second to the last Tosefos, the Avdalah Amid Beis. This is the stira of Abaye. What's the stira? Remember, Shiva Yamim lo Monsey and ach b'yom harishon. Pirush hakontras. Mid mechayev b'yom harishon lahashbis miklal de miktzosei muter. Since on the first day you're mechuyev to be mashbis, that means part of the day is mutter. Because you're being mashbis on the first day. That's the problem according to Rashi. Ve'ein nidaliri. Why? The tashbisu have orehi. I told you already, tashbisu doesn't mean bitul. Tashbisu means burning or getting rid of, eliminating. That's what Tashbisu means. Tashbisu means after you're not allowed to have chametz, that moment. So what are you doing? You're not allowed to have something? Burn it. Fakert. Like Tosefos, the whole mitzvah of Tashbisu is la'achar zman isurei. In other words, it's beautiful. Shivas yamim sa'er lo yimatze b'batechem. Ach b'yom harishon. You know what you should do on the first day? Get rid of it. Because you're not allowed to have it. What are you supposed to do when you're not allowed to have something in the house? Get rid of it. The whole, if you tiny Tashbisu is bitul, you can't do it after Zman Isurei, right? But like Tosefos, we learned before, that Tashbisu means physically getting rid of the chametz. He says, that's the whole mitzvah. The mitzvah is to burn it after it becomes asur. What's your greatest stira, Rashi? I don't understand you. Yeah, but Yom Harishon Tashbisu. Don't wait by Yom HaSheni. Right, but this man ha'isur, get rid of it. In other words, when Pesach comes in, be mashbes, madash. Rashi can't learn that way. Because Rashi always learns that the mitzvah of Tashbisu is before this man ha'isur. We saw it on Dav Dalet, Amid Aleph. We saw it on Dav Dalet Amid Beis. We see it here at the end of Dav Dalet Amid Beis. And it makes sense because Rashi holds Tashbisu is bitul. Or at least it's also bitul. Even if he holds it's also avareh. But if it's the same word, it's going to be the same zman. Rashi is not going to say Havara is after 12 o'clock and Bitul is before 12 o'clock. If it's the same word, very important, it's going to be the same zman. You're not going to say half of Tashbisu is Azoy, half Tashbisu is Azoy. So Rashi holds everything has to be before the zman ha'isur. Why does he learn that way? Either because Sheva al Tasa, either because Achilek means before Chatzos. Eich shelo yiyeh. So he has a stira, he has a problem. You can't do Tashbisu on the first day. Tosefos says, "Was willst du? I don't understand your whole malach." And then he says, "Va'oid, even mashmos the yom rishon mashma miktzas mutter matzorich la'achilek." If ach b'yom rishon already means that part of the day you're allowed to have it, so then you don't need achilek, because b'yom rishon means in middle of the day tashbisu, and then you'll figure out on your own, split it into two. What do you need achilek? Miul alishna sheni shepirish hakuntas da ach chatz ba'achaz bata asa shapin. According to the second Rashi, it does make sense because ach doesn't only leave you with an assumption. Ach tells you chatzi that you wouldn't know from b'yom rishon. So that's why you do need achil. V'nireliri the miyitura dikra kadarish. What bothering was Abaye was not a stira. Abaye was bothered by an extra pasuk. Why did it have to say ach b'yom rishon tashbisu b'teichem? It says already 7 days you shouldn't have chametz. So of course, if you not have chametz, you'll get rid of chametz. And even if you want to tell me that there's a mitzvah essay of tashbisu, So it's not enough just to say not to have chametz, because then Tashbisu would just be a din in Bal Yirah. You want to tell me that Tashbisu is a mitzvah seseh b'fnei atzmai? Then you will chayre pshat and Tosefos is. It didn't have to say ach b'yom harishon. Shivas yomim matzos techelu. V'tashbisu sayme b'teichem. I know when Tashbisu, because it says 7 days you shouldn't have chametz. Right? So there's a mitzvah to be mashbis. When should I be mashbis? I should be mashbis, as he said, when I'm not allowed to have chametz. So the whole pasuk ach b'yom harishon tashbisu sayme b'teichem is superfluous. At least the words ach b'yom harishon, with a special date. From this, Tosefos learns, Abaya holds, that's his issue. His issue was not a stira. He never had a stira. Yeah, but Mela, Tosefos doesn't have to learn that Abaya holds kum v'aseh, and Rava holds sheva al tasa, and then he has a problem that Allah Rava, and he's contradicting Rava. Abaya can hold just like Rava. Or it's not a stira. Abaya is not as because of the stid of the psukim. Abaya is miyutura. It's an extra pasuk. It's an extra pasuk. What's the extra pasuk for? The extra pasuk for is what to teach me that Yom Harishon is a special day, a din of Erev Pesach. V'oid midiksiv ach v'darshina lekaman achilek. Another thing. The problem is not Tashbisu. The problem is it says ach. Why'd say ach? Why'd say ach? The Gemara is going to say achilek. In other words, like Tosefos, the whole Yesod of Abaya is ach, like Rabbi Yossi. According to the second answer of Tosefos, Abaye is just like Rabbi Yossi. It's from Ach. Why'd say Ach? Bayom Harishon Tashbisu. What's Ach? Ach teaches me Erev Pesach. Not the contradiction of the two psukim. Not the but Rashi holds clearly it's the contradiction of the two psukim. Why? Why? Because if Rashi holds that Abaye holds it's kum v'aseh, that's why Rava argued with him. That's why La Halacha Rashi holds it's sheva al tasa. Why did Abaye hold it's kum v'aseh? Because the old Tashbisu was a Pa'ula, and that Pa'ula has to be when? By Yom Harishon. And Rashi holds it's not La'achaz Mana Yisur. It's before Zmana Yisur. You can't say Tashbisu is La'achaz Mana Yisur, because Tashbisu is Kailal Bitul. So B'meila, he has a stira of Abaye. But Rashi clearly holds that Tashbisu is a stira. Tashbisu, you can't do La'achaz Mana Yisur. And therefore, even lahalacha ach b'yeberishin tashbisu means erev Pesach you do it before this mana isur, either because he holds it's an inyan of sheva al tasa, or he holds it's an inyan of what? Of ach chilek. In the morning you have to do tashbisu. But I'll call upon him. The hashbasa has to be before the zman, and that's why it could be koilel bitul, because bitul is before the zman. And once it's bitul, osav or is before the zman. Where Rabbi Yossi Haglili would hold bitul could be even after zmana isur, because chametz is mutter bahana, and therefore you would be able to do it bein hashmoshes at night, mamish when Pesach comes in, do a beautiful tashbisu after this mana isur. I don't care if it's avara, I don't care if it's bitul, and you're good because it says ach b'yom harishon tashbisu sayre b'teichem, and you're going to go into Pesach alustike and afreilecher. My only problem is ach chilek, which tells me that I have a good 6 hours to do my bitul or to do my biur, and that wouldn't make sense that you have 6 hours in the middle of Pesach to do it, so you have to say, according to the Rabbi Yossi, that it means the inyan of Erev Pesach. Leut Rashi Abaye und Rabbi Yossi dingen sich. Leut Tosefos, der zweite Pirush in Tosefos, as a achilek, it is the selbe limud. The first Pirush of Tosefos is taka miyutura dikra. That's taka different in Abaye and Rabbi Yossi. But the second answer of Tosefos is that it's all ach. Abaye learns it from achilek. Yeah? When he says trei kra yiksiva, he means yutura dikra. What's yutura dikra? Ach. Then it would be mamash Rabbi Yossi. It would taka be mamash Rabbi Yossi. In other words, he doesn't have to pit Abaye against Rabbi Yossi. Kum v'aseh sheval tasa, which like Rashi is very geschmack, because Rashi holds like Rava, like Rabbi Yossi. But Tosefos haltach kum v'aseh, it's not shittas Abaye. Yeah. You're right. So that's what Tosefos learns. When the Isur of Bal Yirah begins, that's when Tashbisu is. In other words, the Torah says, from this minute, let's say, from 12 o'clock, you're not allowed to have chametz, yeah? So what should you do? Burn it right then. He holds that the mitzvah of Tashbisu begins in this man when you're not allowed to have it.
If you're not allowed to have it, for the first second, you're first second.
So he tainas that if you're doing Tashbisu, you're busy getting. If you're in the process of getting rid of it, you're not going to be over. You're not going to be over. It's a chiddush. That's what he learns. In other words, he holds that's why it says Tashbisu. That's pshat Tashbisu. Because it's not, you're not allowed to have it and Tashbisu. Because you're not allowed to have it, therefore Tashbisu. So when does Tashbisu start? When you're not allowed to have it. So the halacha, what would Tosefos hold? By Chatzois, you're not allowed to have chametz anymore. Even if you're not over on Bayirah. Okay? Like Rashi, tak over on Bayirah. Oh, that's what most Rishonim hold. Many Rishonim hold that. Yeah, you're right. Many Rishonim hold Erev Pesach, there's no Bayirah. Rashi holds there is. But many Rishonim hold not. There's only a chiyuv tashbisu. You're not allowed to eat it. You're not allowed to sell it. And you have to get rid of it. This taken always a Bayirah. Bayirah starts at night. Then it's very geshmak. You're right. Even then, you have to touch. Rambam holds Tashbisu is before Chatzos. Rashi holds it before Chatzos. Tosefos holds it after Chatzos. If there's no Bayirah, it's very geshmak. That's the mitzvah Tashbisu, and at night you won't be over on Bayirah. Like Rashi, if you're over on Bayirah by Sheish Shoyes, so maybe we understand even more why there's Tashbisu before. Not only mitzvah Bitul, not to be over on Bayirah. Sai mitzvah Bitul, sai mitzvah Bayirah, you're going to have Bayirah. And he holds once you have Bayirah, you can't do Tashbisu. I mean, you could do it, but you'll be over on Bayirah. Das ist das. Rashi sagt Werte bei Rabbi Yossi, was sagt nicht bei Abaye. Sagt Leute Rabbi Yossi, sie kennen sein bei Nashmoshes. Und Abaye sagt es nicht. Geht nicht, dass auf Schadi sie kennen sein bei Nashmoshes. Geht gleich, oder Nacht, oder Erev Pesach. Was sagst du nicht dieselbe Sache? So sein Nacht bei Nashmoshes und sie nicht Erev Pesach. Doesn't exist.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.